Leader Show. It's a great honor to have you here as a woman, but also as a professional. I'm very much inspired by all you are doing and all your career. You are an astronaut, you are an engineer, and also the CEO and founder of Deep Space Initiative. But who is Sara in her real life? What are your hobbies and passions?
Thank you so much for having me, first of all, and thank you so much for the kind words. It's a lot, of course, to be doing, to leave any room for anything other than work. But who I am is I'm just a very curious person. I problem solve everything that I see in front of me, and this is what I do in every aspect, of, the different things that I'm doing. Let's say in the space field, I took it as a problem that needed to be solved. The fact that we are not able to, reach as far as we could be reaching, in our cosmos. So that's one way that I looked at it, where I saw that I could be using my background and my skills to help advance that. And that was a problem that needed to be solved. Same thing with the Space Initiative. It was a problem, it was a complex problem that could need a simple solution. And that's what I did with the Space Initiative. Founding it was, was a big risk, of course, for me, but I think it has been the biggest reward. And I think our mission could have a very big impact and to solve a problem. So I am very curious and a very eager problem solver, I would say.
That's a great answer. And you were the first Egyptian to go to space in a Blue Origin flight, making history for Egyptians, for African women, and also for Arabs. How was this experience for you?
Going to space was the most profound experience of my life. I honestly did not expect it to change as much as it has, in all of the aspects that it has affected. It really did change my perspective. So there is a term called the overview effect, and that is why they sent me. So I applied to this program that sends leaders to experience this overview effect and bring this new perspective, this change that happens to them, and apply it and change things on Earth. So they selected me based on my leadership experience and potential for global impact, out of thousands of applicants, to be able to do this and bring it to Earth. So this overview effect is this change in perception that happens in your brains that happens when you see Earth from space. And it was a lot more than I expected it would be. It has really changed a lot of things. How I see the world is different. The scale of everything is different because everything seems smaller now. Everything seems reachable. The impact, and hence the impact that you can have, is bigger because everything is smaller. The problems seem more manageable. So that's why it's allowing me to take bigger risks in my life and to tackle bigger issues that we have on Earth and in my country, specifically in my continent. So it has changed me personally. And of course, it has allowed people from Egypt and from Africa and from the Arab world to see themselves in the field for the very first time. I grew up not seeing anyone that looked like me in the field. We were always told that it's not for us. We were told that it's not for our side of the world. Like there was always this separation where if you ever said you wanted to do something, there's like, no, it's like not for you. Don't dream. We were always told not to dream, So I think now I feel like it's so important for people to grow up seeing that it is possible and to see that, but she has done it, then I could do it too. So this is for me really, really important. And I think like representation really, really does matter.
And speaking of your country, speaking of Egypt, you were born and raised in the capital of Cairo. What was Sara like when she was younger? What specific details do you recall from your youth? Have you always been interested in following a career in engineering? Did you ever consider the possibility that you might travel to space?
I honestly, when I was growing up, I was similar to what I'm now. I'm very curious. I've dabbed into so many different fields because when something interests me, I don't like not knowing how to do it. Like that for me is like, I like challenges. I like seeing something and learning something new and trying to solve it. So that's what I've applied throughout my entire life. And that's what made me become an engineer, because basically an engineer, you're just using the laws of physics to fix, to create, to innovate, to improve. So it's what I use, this engineering mentality is what I use in all of the things that I do in my entrepreneurship side and in basically all sides of my life. So growing up, because I didn't see anyone in the space field, and because we didn't really watch any rocket launches on TV, we'd never heard of astronauts, like it's not something that I grew up hearing about. So it wasn't something that I was exposed to. So if you're not exposed to something, you don't see it yourself, you can't really dream of becoming it, because you don't know that it even exists, or if it does exist, you're told that it's not for you. And when I was growing up, I was told not to study engineering because it would be too hard for someone like me. And when I did biomedical engineering, I was told that I would never find any opportunities in my country. So it didn't why was I ever even doing my master's in it? And then when I did when I got interested in the space field, people were saying that it's probably a waste of time, So when I was growing up, I always knew that I wanted to have an impact, that I wanted to do something. I always had this big drive inside of just an insane amount of curiosity and this feeling that I need to solve things, that I need to do something. And that's just kept going with engineering and with biomedical, and then with the space field, it just kind of exploded because I saw how big of an impact this field has. And so that's, how it evolved. It was just a big evolution and interest in science and physics and problem solving, basically. I know we always go around to problem solving because I feel like that's what I am.
And we talked briefly about Deep Space Initiative. Can you tell us a little bit more about its vision, its mission, and how is it helping students globally, all over the world?
Of course. So Deep Space Initiative is a nonprofit company that aims to increase accessibility in the space field by providing opportunities in research and education. So with our research department, we provide opportunities in research for those who have little to no experience in research and little to no exposure in the field of space. So if someone is working already and has years of experience in one field, they can come to DSI and have this smooth transition. Because when I first started getting in the field, I realized how inaccessible it was for someone like me, someone who doesn't have a US passport or a European passport. So I did not have any opportunities in front of me that I could apply to because of the laws that exist. So what we're doing at DSI is making it easier for people to join the space field and be able to gain the experience required to actually have an impact in the field. So we have several programs in education in our research department. We have also other programs in the education department that relate to bringing education that is more accessible to everyone, no matter their nationality or resources. So the main idea is to make it as accessible as possible and to get the most number of people be able to join this field. And then we also have a legal department that aims to educate congresswomen and men about how those laws, that have existed for decades and decades, maybe they made sense before, but maybe it's time to change things a little bit, maybe to understand the fact that it is so inaccessible. How is it harming the field? How is it halting our progress? How is it harming the improvement that could be happening in different countries? How is it impacting the whole field, the field as a whole? Because we still have a lot of problems in a lot of the different fields that exist within the space field, and we can't just keep employing the same people from the same side of the world to solve the problems that we've had. We need people from different perspectives, from different backgrounds, different trainings, different educational backgrounds even, So that's what we're trying to do with DSI, just to make it accessible, provide opportunities, get more people involved, and make space just a normal thing. We want to live in a world where space travel is just normal, where we talk about space like it's not something that, when I go to Egypt and I say oh, I work in the space field, everyone is so surprised, it's a thing. You can actually work there. So we want to make it normal. We want to make it part of the conversation.
And yes, and I completely agree. Being a scientist myself, I think this is the best thing that you can do for for a country that doesn't have the opportunities of the US or the UK. I come originally from Albania as well, so I see myself very much in your situation. So you are one of the very best examples to inspire and motivate younger generation of Egyptians to pursue education in space or in science, and also, you know, help change that perception of women in the Arab world. What message would you like to give to the young leaders and women who dare to dream big despite the circumstances that they are or they might be in?
Thank you for that. You also have a very inspiring story, and I'm sure you have inspired so many through your hardships and stories. So that is very, very admirable and appreciated. What the message that I would like to give is, from my experience, not to listen to whoever tells you not to do something, you know, and to use this energy to push you forward. Because sometimes if we always listen to whatever someone else is telling us and don't listen to our inner voice, it kind of kills us little by little. But if you always have this voice at the back of your mind telling you, I know this, like there's this little thing that I can't stop thinking about, just follow it. Trust your inner voice. And you know, there's this saying that I heard, and I just always, you know, like two sayings actually, like those are two things that I would like to tell people, is that whether you believe you are capable or not, you are probably right. You know, it always starts with your belief in whether or not it's possible, you know. So you need to visualize yourself there. You need to believe that it is possible. Put yourself in the position where, okay, there is this one position that I would like to have. Someone is going to get it, you know. And if you go into, you know, this new research project, this new opportunity, this new, I don't know, this new problem that you're trying to solve, thinking, oh, maybe I don't know if I'll be able to do it, maybe it's not for me, and you let imposter syndrome take over, this is gonna kind of shut down the belief that you are capable. So always like numb those thoughts, don't say them, you know, always say the positive things, always give those the voice rather than the voices that are telling you, no, like that's not possible, because someone is actually going to do it. You know, there's always someone is going to do it. So that could be you, you know, if you believe that it's you. And the second thing is that no matter how difficult it seems, you know, failure is going to happen and you learn more from failures. But the fact that like there's a problem that has not been solved, don't listen to the people, especially that tell you, oh, you know, like probably someone else is solving it. You know, this is a biggest mistake that I see people doing, is that if they have a simple solution, that's beautiful. Like having simple solutions is the best thing they can have for problems, not complex ones. You want simple solutions for things. And those are the ones that work. Those are the ones that you can get more people to work in, because you can easily communicate it. It could, you know, you can easily have a plan for it. You can get more people involved. So having a simple solution is actually a good thing. And if the problem still exists, then no one has actually solved it, you know? And so always think that it is doable, you can do it. And if the laws of physics don't tell you it's not possible, then it is possible.
I'm smiling because I find myself very much in your position. I always tell my students, if you never try, you will never know. Therefore, trying is always a step towards success, even if the success means failing, which I like to use the word small success, because it teaches us what not to do next time. So it serves as an experience. And so what are your future projects then, Sarah? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time or so?
In 5 years, that's a little bit difficult to say, because 2 years ago, I would have never thought I would be here. So things move really rapidly when you're working really hard. And I think that applies to everyone. And, you know, and so in 5 years, I would like, of course, DSI to be, you know, self-sufficient, to actually have an impact, for us to really change things in the field, you know. And for my other company that I will be announcing soon, for that also to have an impact, you know. So those are my two biggest projects that I would like to see have impacts and make change for people's lives. So those are my big projects that I hope in 5 years have measurable effects, that we can say like that have changed someone's life, at least more than one. And for my personal ambitions, I'm currently doing my PhD in aerospace, working on spacesuits. And I'm continuing my astronaut training. So I work with Spaceflight Institute on a few things where we're commercial astronaut training that would be open for, commercial astronauts who want to go to space. So we're working on that. So I'm helping them out with that. So hopefully in 5 years, we would have like everything set up. We would have trained several generations of astronauts, because we want space travel to be, if we have this training that is more accessible, and then you have space travel that is becoming more and more accessible, then you have two pieces of the puzzle that are solved, So we're working on that as well. And I'm continuing my training, and hope in 5 years that I'll be on the ISS doing research, or on Axiom Space's station doing research, and then hopefully making my way to the moon and Mars maybe in 10, 20 years.
And that's really inspiring for me as well, and I'm sure for many other young women out there who would like to pursue a career in STEM, whether this is become an astronaut or a scientist. Thank you so much, Sara. It's been lovely to have you here. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.